All right, guys, this is the assignment for the essay question. I'm going to go ahead and start off with the book. Okay, I've already got into the assignment. I've clicked on the PDF version of the book. You'll need to download this. Okay, there's a couple of different ways. Okay, you can open it with something else, but to allow for the possibility of you searching for night, like the word night, you'll need to be able to do that on your computer. With mine, I've got a Mac, so it's a little bit different, but this download option here, okay, will help me. I'm going to click this viewer. You're going to open it with whatever viewer that you have. That'll be on a different window. I'll show you how to use that here in just a second. Okay, so I'm going to get out of that, go back to the actual assignment. Okay, so in the instructions, since we're all having trouble with the technology these days, I've given each of you a paper version. Everybody should have one of those. Okay, if you don't, there's some extra copies up on that front desk. Okay, if you have the opportunity to use technology, use it and write your essay on this provided document that you'll have. Okay, if you write this on paper, if you can, upload a picture of your work to the assignment. That's going to be a whole lot quicker. Okay, if you must turn it in on paper, I'm not going to get it until next week, so I won't get that immediately unless you turn it in online. Okay, if not, you'll just be sitting there waiting on pins and needles until next week when I get it on Monday. Okay, but I've already got this PDF open. I already downloaded it. I've got it on a different screen. Okay, the essay question is here. Okay, so this is my essay. What I have already done for me, okay, is the topic sentence. I'm going to have to find some evidence in two different places in the book and then fill in the blanks in order of this A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, keep this stuff in order. That's the way your paragraph works. The first sentence is the topic sentence. The second sentence or two is going to be this quote evidence. Okay, the next sentence or two is going to be this commentary, then transition, then the next quote evidence, then the next commentary, and then the closing. So if you can count, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at least 7 sentences. That's a pretty big paragraph. Okay. What's already done for us is the topic sentence, but really that's the easiest part. Okay. In the very beginning of this, and feel free to steal this. That's why I gave it to everybody. You can use this topic sentence. I actually suggest that. Okay. But the first thing you always have to do when you're talking about something in literature, remember we're talking to our dumbest friend in our audience, okay, is that I have to say what I'm reading and who it's by. Okay, so this is the book Night, and it's by Elie Wiesel. I have to say that every time that I'm talking about a piece of literature. Okay. The second part of this, I'm just taking the prompt and then making it a statement. Okay, depending on what and how I read this. Okay, so remember the other day we talked about these question words. What is going to give me a blank that I need to fill in? Okay, but I have 2 blanks because there's 2 things that I need to fill in. I'm looking for a literal and a symbolic, okay, meaning of the word night in the book. The second part of that, I've got to describe how it's appropriately titled when I find that information. Okay, so that's what my topic sentence does. The book Night by Elie Wiesel is appropriately titled because of Wiesel's literal and symbolic meanings of the word used throughout the book. That's literally just the prompt question reworded in a statement that I'm going to explain later on with my quote stuff, my commentary, and everything else. Okay? All right. So the first thing I have to do, my topic sentence is already written. I've got to find some evidence about the word night being used both literally and symbolically. Literally is going to be easy. Symbolically, I'm going to have to look a little bit. Okay? Easiest thing, that's why I showed you this process the other day, and that's why I'm showing it to you now. Okay. But literally up in this search bar, I type the word night. Okay. Over here to the left-hand side, yeah, I'm going to have to do that again. It shows every time that the word night pops up in the book. Okay. Now these page numbers are the PDF pages. They're not the actual like book pages. This is the PDF page 26. Okay. It's actually page 1 down here on the bottom if I were using the physical book. I don't care which one you reference, honestly, but you need to remember where you got your quote from, because that's going to be part of what you have to have for your step. Okay. So 26 and 1 equal each other. Okay. This first, and I know this is small for you, but this first page here that it has night used in, okay, by night I would run to the synagogue. I don't like that one. This one works pretty well. Day after day, night after night, we went from one Jewish house to the next, telling his story and that of Malka, the girl who blah, blah, blah. That one's decent. Okay. I can use that quote talking about, okay, the word and how it's used literally. Okay. So this is a literal usage of the word because it's literally talking about the time of day. Okay. That's why it says day after day, night after night. Okay. He's just using it to mark time. Okay. So I can use that one just fine. And again, I can either use page 32 of the PDF, which is what it calls it here, or I can use page 7 out of the book. I'm going to choose to use the book number 7, okay? But all I have to do is copy and paste, okay? I'm going to copy and paste the whole sentence. That's a pretty big sentence. It's fine. But I select it all. For you guys that are using Windows machines, that's just Control-C. For me, it's Command-C. It's all the same. I copied it. I'm going to come over here to where it says my quote evidence. Now here's the trick. This is using technology. I push enter and then I have to delete it. Okay, then I'm going to paste it. And that's Control V for you guys, Command V for me. All right. And that's my quote. Okay. Up here, just to remind myself, I'm going to put it in all caps. This is my literal definition of the word. That's how it's used literally in the book. Okay, to help myself out for later, I'm going to put quotation marks around that, okay, because it's quoted from the book. And then I'm going to put in parentheses what page it was from. Okay, it was out of page 7 at the end of it. That's all I need. Okay, that's my quote. Used it literally. All right. I know I'm skipping a couple of steps here, but while I'm looking in the book, I'm using the same process, so I'm going to go look for my symbolic usage of the word. Okay? And I can just literally look at this step by step with each page that it's on, and I can read through that. Talmud during the day and Kabbalah at night. Nope, that's literal. Night fell. Some people had gathered in our courtyard. That's being used figuratively, but it's not really symbolically. It was close to midnight. Nah. Night had fallen. That evening we went to bed early. Nah, same kind of thing. Night before, spent that night. The darkness of night. Ooh, I like that. Okay. In the darkness of night, he's talking about the abyss opening up beneath us. Okay. This is where Mrs. Schachter is talking. All right. I'm going to take the couple of sentences around that one. Do the same thing, copy it, look what page it comes from. It's from page 25. Come down here to my quote and evidence, push enter, delete it a couple times, paste it, boom. Make sure I put the right page number in parentheses. Make sure I put quotations around what's being taken from the book. Boom. Okay? So I got my quotes done. Now I just got to explain those dudes. Okay? I don't need this anymore unless I don't know, maybe I don't like what I picked and I want to try to pick something else, that's fine. Okay, but I don't need that anymore. I'm done with the book. Okay. Here's the thing I need to take into account. Wherever I get this from, I need to be aware of the context in which it was being used. Okay, like the place in the book where he's talking about. Okay. This is, okay, early in the book where Moisha the beetle is going from house to house. Okay. This is right where Mrs. Schachter and everybody else, remember that story, they're all on the cattle cars. Okay? You have to have that kind of in mind. Remember, we're talking to our dumbest friend that's never read the book before. Okay? So we got to kind of set up the context a little bit before we give them the quote. Make sense? All right. So for this first one, when I comment about this, where we prove on how this quote fits my assumption, I got to remember what I'm assuming here, that the book is appropriately titled by using this word in each way I'm showing it being used. Okay? So this first piece of commentary, I'm talking about the quote that is right above it. Okay? The easiest way that you can do this is literally in this quote. I'm sorry, I was in all caps. In this quote from the early part of the book, I'm setting it up. Okay? Moisha, the beetle, is going from place to place, telling his story of escaping the Germans' execution. Okay. Now I'm going to tell him how he uses night. The author uses the word night in this passage to simply show the days and nights for time. Boom. Done. Okay? Now I'm going to my next quote. Remember, I got to kind of remember where it comes from in the book. Okay? This is where they're riding in the train, the cattle car. Okay? And you could spend a little bit more time reading around that if you want to familiarize yourself. There's a good reason, okay, that we read the book first, okay, through chapter 6 before we did this essay. Okay? We shouldn't be looking and taking pictures of ourselves. Okay? But that's what I'm doing here as well. Okay, so I'm doing this where it says commentary again, and I'm just tricking technology to make it work for myself here. Okay? In this quote, the Jews of Siget are on the train going to Auschwitz. Ooh, I spelled that right. Oh, no, I didn't. Dadgummit. See, I even spell stuff. There we go. I meant that. Okay? All right. Ellie uses the word night in this passage to show the absence of the fire Mrs. Schachter, I think that's how you spell it, I think it has H in it, sees and yells about to everyone. There is nothing there but night. Okay? He also mentions that night is darkness, and that adds to the mood of the passage, symbolizing evil and darkness. Boom. Okay. So remember, I'm trying to show how it's being used symbolically. I did that. Right here, I'm trying to show how it's being used literally. I did that. Okay. Now I know I'm kind of skipping around here. Hopefully this makes sense when we're done. Now I got to work with my transition. Okay. In my transition, I'm going from the literal usage to my symbolic usage. I like transitional words in this sense that kind of bridge that. I like although a good one. Okay. However, you could probably use here too. Okay. But those two would be my top picks. If you want to use a thesaurus or look up a bunch of transitional words, get after it. Okay. I like although. Although the author, and you can say the author, or you can say Wiesel. I've already done the author, so I'm going to mix it up a little bit. Uses the word, and I'm going to put that in quotes, literally in the book. He also uses it symbolically to show more about his feelings and the evil done by the Germans in the Holocaust. Boom. Okay, so I just went from literal. Now we know that there's symbolic stuff coming up. Now I'm going to the closing statement. Okay, I'm just summarizing my commentary and reminding the reader about the main topic. Remember, the main topic, okay, is my topic sentence. I'm reminding them about the book being appropriately titled. Okay, and I'm going to lead with that. The book, Night. I need to underline that because I'm using a book title. Bless you. Is appropriately titled. Because the author, Elie Wiesel, uses it both literally to mark the time he spent, and symbolically to show the darkness and evil that was done to his people. Boom. Okay, could I have done that better? Sure, and I can still work on it, okay? But I'm done with it. That's the whole essay. Somebody look at the clock. How long did that take? Not very long at all, okay? You guys got till Friday. Could you sit and do this here in a few minutes? Probably. It's not that hard, okay? Step by step by step by step, not that difficult. Make sense? Okay? Now, every time that you're given a prompt, you're probably not going to be given an A, B, C, D, E, F, G to fill out, but it literally is that simple. Okay? That's the plan, okay, that you follow every time you get an expository prompt. Okay? Now, the things that I didn't write here in the directions, we got to keep in mind. I'm talking to Fred. Now, Fred's my dumbest friend. He's a made-up guy. Okay? you're talking to somebody that's never read the book before or that hasn't read it in a long time, somebody that's kind of less than you on your knowledge of it, okay? Some of you might need to raise your knowledge of it. You might be Fred, okay? But you're talking to somebody that hasn't read the book, so you have to set up, okay, your quotations a little bit, okay, to be able to talk about them. That's what we use our commentary for, okay? But if you just follow this list, okay, now I'm ready to put this all together in the next step to make my essay, okay? I'm going to do that just using copy and paste. I'm going to push enter to a new page, and I'm just going to start grabbing stuff, okay? A is the first letter, so I'm going to grab this topic sentence, copy it, come down here, paste it. Okay, now it gave me that H thing here. Just delete, get that out of the way. Everything else should work just fine. Okay, I go to the end of that sentence, come back up. My next thing is my quote. I'm gonna copy it, come back down to the bottom, paste it, boom, go to the end of it, come grab my commentary, copy it, go to the end of that sentence, paste, go back up. Now I got my transition, copy it, paste it, go to the end, my next quote, copy it. Do I need to say copy it every time? Probably not, but I'm going to. Go to the next thing. It's my commentary. Right here, sorry. Copy. Go to the end. Paste. Get my closing, which is the last thing. That's my G. Copy, go to the end, boom, paste it. All right. If you notice, a couple of these things don't look like the others. Okay, there's a couple of things that I'm going to show you. This is MLA, okay, which is the Modern Language Association. That's what we have to make everything look like in English. Okay, you have to have every paragraph tabbed over at the beginning, so I did that. Everything needs to be in Times New Roman 12-point font. I'm going to show you how to do that. So I selected my whole paragraph. Go up here where it says Arial. Change it to Times New Roman. Where it has the blank, I hover over it, says font size. Make it 12. Done. There's our paragraph. Okay. The next step is to read this sucker and make sure it makes sense. Okay. And then if you need to add something, if you think maybe, well, I probably need to say that here. Maybe I need to change how I said this. Maybe you have spelled something wrong, whatever it is. Once you've put it all together, read it as a paragraph. Okay, I'm not going to bore you guys to death doing that here because we just wrote it. Okay, but that's a paragraph. That's how it was built. Now, did I just start typing away? Okay, it was a process. I had to find my blank. First I had to read the question. I had to figure out the question word. Okay, what was giving me a couple of blanks. I had to figure out that I'm using both the literal and symbolic meanings of night, and I'm looking for those in the book. I found them. I used quotes that I thought represented those two ideas. Okay, and then I talked about each of those separately, made a transition between the two, and then summarized the whole thing at the end. Okay, that process is how we do scholastic writing. Okay, if we're just going to sit down and write a story, sit down and write a story. Journal entry, okay, reflection, any of those things, we just sit down and write. Okay, this is planned. We had an outline. Okay, we had step-by-step instructions. Okay? Your grandma might know how to cook Thanksgiving dinner by heart. She doesn't have to have all the different recipes and everything else. Okay? She's been doing it a long time, but there's still a plan. She knows what to cook first, what to do next, how hot to bake this, what to, all the stuff, all the utensils that she's going to need. She's already got all that stuff done and ready. It seems like she is doing stuff way easier, but she still has a plan and she has a lot of practice. Okay? So right now, we're still reading recipes. We're still having to, look a couple of things up. Well, what the heck is 2 cups? Okay? Is that the same as 32 ounces? Oh, yeah, I got it. Okay, so we're figuring some stuff out, okay, as we go, but we have that recipe put together for us, and that's how we're doing it right now. Okay? Once you get to grandma's level on cooking, you can get down and start typing away. You'll have your own process. That makes sense? I know it's kind of a silly analogy, but that's the way I was thinking about it. Okay? Once I get that all figured out, but for right now, there's nothing wrong with taking baby steps, okay, and doing it that way. Good? All right.